Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name is Brandon. I am a lifetime Florida State Seminole fan.
And I am Chris, and I am a gargantuan Gator fan.
And we are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. Today, Chris, both reasons to celebrate. The Gators and the Noles are victorious. We'll talk about South Florida, the only other game on in the state. Without further ado, let's get started. The Gators face yet another Tiger team, and they're victorious on the road. How'd the game go from your perspective?
This was a game that, again, kind of went a little bit like I thought it was going to be, where since it's a noon kickoff and you add on top of that a road game, we're going to start out slow, and that's what we did. We started off slow, a little sluggish, making some mistakes here and there, but we finished strong. Our defense played great, and we beat the Tigers of Missouri 23-6. Kind of a boring game, a little bit, but I'm not taking that lightly because a win is a win, and I will definitely take the win and go home with it and be happy. But kind of game for Florida. But we do have a great second half and get the victory there. We snap a 2-game losing streak to Missouri, which was important for us. And Missouri just sometimes just has our number, and they have recently, so it was good to get some revenge with them. Believe Missouri leads the all-time series 5-4. 4-4 since joining the SEC.
Wow.
So they have had our number. A quiet rivalry, if you will.
Yeah.
A very one. A cool note: Missouri was wearing those Top Gun helmets.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was really cool because Top Gun is definitely top 5 favorite movie for me.
Nice.
So it was hard to go against them, but I still did. Like I said, we started off slow. It was only 6-3 at halftime, but we pulled away in the second half there. That's the 5th game this year that Florida has not allowed a touchdown.
Crazy.
3 shutouts and then 2 other games where Tennessee and Missouri, we did not allow a touchdown. So I don't know where that lands in the record books. That's got to be pretty high up there. That's pretty interesting. Yep. Jonathan Grenard, again, had a big game, and we'll get into his stats later on, but such a crucial part of that defense and our team, and what a pickup we had for him this year. So he had a great game for us, but much of the same. No running game. Passing game is making up for it. Not pretty, but like I said, I'll take it. But overall, we're doing a good job of beating the lesser opponents. Something that Muschamp and McElwain struggled to do. They would get that great win, but then the next week, just blow it. And Mullen's doing a great job of doing that, taking care of those teams that we should beat. We still have to figure out how to beat get to the next level and beat Georgia and LSU. But we are taking care of those types of games. The Missouri, Vandy's, and Kentucky's were. So I'm glad that's happening, but I'll take it. Not the most glamorous win, but win on the road in the SEC. Give it to me,
Yeah.
That's just the overall. Let me run through some positives, some improvements, and then we can discuss. It was very similar to, as far as the positives, very similar to the last game against Vanderbilt, where you start off slow, but you never really were too worried, kind of in control. Trask put up good numbers, almost throwing for 300 again and a couple touchdowns. We had a solid third quarter. That's where we got our 2 touchdowns. We're in the third quarter outscoring them 14-3. P. Ryan doing great in the passing game, surprisingly. Our starting running back, like we need another threat
right
in the passing game, but he got it. But he gets a touchdown. on a great grab, and not only a great grab, but that where Trask put the ball, only P. Ryan can catch it. So it was good to see him do that. Emory Jones, just like the Vanderbilt game, nice to see him plugged in. He even had a long, I think a 48-yarder to Kadarius Toney there. So we see that he can also sling it. He's not just a running quarterback, although he's really good at that. You can see that he's a good passer as well. And we definitely got – I think that we got help from the refs in a crucial part in the game that really swung the momentum in our favor. And it's in the third quarter, I believe. Yeah, third quarter. And it was a pass to Pitts down the sideline, and it looked like the corner or safety ripped the ball out of his hands. And I was surprised that the refs ruled it a catch, and then they reviewed it and said, yes, it was a catch. They said Pitts had the possession going down, and then they hit the ground, and then the defensive back ripped it out. I think it was an interception.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know the rules enough, and they explain the rules. But I mean, you look at it; it looked like I don't know. Pitts really had possession going down. They say he did, and they say the tie goes to the receiver. But it still looked like I don't know. Missouri stole the ball from him, but the play went for us, and then later on. They throw the pass to P. Ryan, which initially was ruled out of bounds. They say it was in bounds, which I think was the right call. But after that sequence of events happened, we really took control. Yeah. So one game the refs go in our favor, one game they don't, one game they do. So it's a give and take, I guess.
Right.
But much of the same for offense. Trask does enough, puts up some numbers. We still are productive despite our running game, and a lot of receivers getting the ball. I guess spreading the wealth. That's what I'm trying to say. We're spreading the wealth, and a lot of weapons. Like I said, P. Ryan's jumping in there. You have Kadarius Toney looks like he's healthy. Whether it's Grimes, one drive, I think early on, Van Jefferson had 3 catches. Then you go to the next drive, and then, okay, we're going to get the ball to Pitts a lot. And then a guy like Josh Hammond, who does nothing the whole game, catches a touchdown pass. So I like that we're spreading the wealth, but that's kind of our MO. I think we've just abandoned the running game, and we know our strength is the passing game. And so it was good for them. Got enough points, and of course McPherson hitting I think 3 field goals there helps. And then on the defense, Grenard, again, great game. 5 tackles for loss and 2 sacks.
Beast mode.
Yeah, it's a very accurate. And like he's I think the MVP of our defense for sure. And you see especially when he's not in, how much we struggled. So I'm glad that he's here. Good pressure on the quarterback. Good pursuit. Because Kelly Bryant was playing, and he's a mobile quarterback. So he got loose a couple times for sure, but we kept him contained. We kept their tight end, I'm just going to say O. You can try to pronounce it if you want. We kept him in check, which is nice because I know he hurt us in the past, and he's a matchup nightmare, but good to see that we kept him in check. Marco Wilson, a few games ago, they switched him to that nickel star position, that nickel cornerback. I think that was a really good move, getting Trey Dean out of there and Marco Wilson there, and Kyer Elam taking his spot on the edge, a freshman corner. Really doing a great job there. I think that was a great move by Mullen and Grantham, because that was a weak link. You get that third, fourth receiver matched up, or tight end matched up on that star position, Trey Dean, and it was just killing us. So I think we're tightening that up, which is good going going forward. Like I said, we kept him out of the end zone, and then a little note here, which you will appreciate because you love the kickers.
Oh yeah.
Tommy Townsend, our punter, is a finalist for the Ray Guy Award.
I did see that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about our punters being successful, but I guess if you're 9-2 and you have a good punter, that's okay.
Sure.
If you're 4 and whatever and your punter's great, then you're like, not. So those are the positives. Just a ho hum, 23 points. Not the best numbers offensively, but when you're stopping them to 6 points, that's good.
And you're right. Nothing flashy here. Florida sticks to what they know, and I think you kind of answered a question I was going to ask. And is it that Florida can't run the ball, or they're just choosing not to? And it sounds like you're just kind of settling for, well, we can get 300 through the air. We don't really need to run it that much.
Yeah. That's definitely the negative. It's no running game, and we still do. And I'll admit, earlier in the season, I was kind of like, why are we even attempting to run? Like, it's not going anywhere. But our friend Jared was like, well, we still have to keep them honest. We still have to keep them honest, and we are. And it was a good point. We do try to run, and we do have Kadarius Toney with the jet sweep and Emory Jones. We're finding different ways to run the ball, or that is our running game. So we're making it work. I'd still rather have a good solid 100 yards from P. Ryan every game, or Pierce, but it's okay. I don't like our slow start again. Looked a little out of rhythm, but I kind of expected that. Trask put up good numbers, but he definitely had 2 drop picks. One of them was an easy walk-in pick 6. The guy just dropped it. So I don't like that. But he didn't let it didn't let it rattle him, which I think something that you would have seen from Franks. That was one of the knocks on him, is he throws a pick or he fumbles the ball and he's just down for the rest of the game. But didn't rattle Trask, and that's what I like about Trask. He's kind of a steady hand the whole game there. But it could have been real bad though, because he threw them right to the guys there. I would have liked to see Emory Jones finish drives. I like that we're getting him in, mixing it up a little bit, seeing him run. Mullen let him throw. We can see that he can throw, but after that long throw he had to Toney, down to like the 5-yard line, Trask comes in, and then we have to settle for a field goal. And nothing against Trask, but I would have liked to see Emory Jones finish that drive, give him a shot. And our O-line, man, it is up and down. We'll have a drive where we will block everybody and then march down the field, and the next drive, 5 sacks. And it's just annoying. I know I'm exaggerating there, but it's just
I gotcha.
You can't figure out what we're doing. And I think I know we've had injuries on the line, and one of our linemen got benched and then went to the transfer portal. So we're trying to figure out a new rotation. We got some freshmen in there. But they're very inconsistent, very erratic. I do like, though, the first half we gave up 4 sacks. Well, we tweaked it and we gave up 0 in the second half. So it's just it's a work in progress right there. I would like it at this point of the season to be fixed, or at least getting better, but we're not. And then the last few things here. We sacked Bryant 3 times. We could have had more sacks, but a couple of our safeties and corners had nice blitz, wide open path to the quarterback. He just kind of sidestepped them, and they was zipped right on by. He hit the brakes and they flew right on by. For those listening, that's a Top Gun reference today.
That's 2.
Anyways,
let's see if you can do more.
But kudos to him. That's what he does best. But we could have had more sacks, I guess. I guess I'm being very nitpicky here. Greedy, I guess. And we let Bryant scramble for a few first downs, which was frustrating. I didn't like. But that's kind of it. When you hold a team to 6 points, you can't complain too much. Would have liked to see some more stuff from the offense, some run game, O-line. But overall, I'm pleased. Overall, I'll take it. And let's just get the win going into the bye week and get ready for Florida State.
Yeah, that's good. It's just shocking to me to continue to see Florida. I think it's now a month. Your top running back doesn't have at least 40 yards rushing. It's very odd and an interesting choice of way to go. So here's the hypothetical I came up with for you, Chris. Ready?
Okay.
What if I told you you could double your rushing yards per game? However, your defense would have to give up 7 more points a game.
Let's see, what are we doing? No, I'm going to stick with the way it is.
Okay.
It's tempting. It's tempting. It is tempting. I would be more inclined to take that if we weren't 9-2, because it's still working.
Yeah.
It's still working, and 7 points.
And Florida's still winning games by multiple scores. That's what's impressive here. Like, if you're like in a single digit battle all the time, which I think it's only been 2 of your games so far, maybe Georgia and Kentucky. Florida's still winning handily, which is impressive. I think I'm surprised. I think, was it Kadarius Toney that was hurt this year? He only has like 15 touches the entire season on offense, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Just getting him in and out, and you even had Hammond, who's a leading receiver one game, so you're definitely spreading the ball around very well. I think that was against Miami week 1 or 0. But, the guys that need to get involved are there, and I don't even know how many had touches this game, but it's 9, 10, 11, and 12 range every single game.
Yeah. Which makes it real hard for a defense to plan against. Like, okay, so Pitts is the guy that like the announcers are always going to hype up, right? But outside of him, which receiver are you going to pick, right? One drive, like I said, one drive, Jefferson had 3. Then the next drive, Trey Grimes had 2 big catches, and then little old Josh Hammond gets the touchdown, and so he's like the 5th, 6th on the depth chart maybe. But Mullen said in his press conference, like, he doesn't really care who starts. He doesn't care. He's not gonna. Every now and then he'll say we need to get the ball to Kadarius Toney, but he led it up to the receivers, and they said, and he was just curious, like, how do you pick? And they said, we just rotate. We don't really care. It's awesome. His turn to get the ball. It's his turn to start. It's his turn to go in this drive. And so it's nice to have depth at that. It's nice to have leaders that aren't selfish, because I think, especially more so in the NFL, like, the receivers and corners are going to be the most selfish guys, the most look at me players. For some reason, that's just how it always is.
Right.
Maybe I'm thinking, Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens, Antonio Brown,
Right.
So, but it's nice to when you see a group of guys that just go, it's your turn, you go, and have confidence in not, 1, being humble, and 2, having confidence in the guy he's gonna make plays. So it's definitely a strength of our team for sure.
It is. They are definitely each other's wingmans.
Oh, nice. I really like that.
Number 3. So yeah, I think that's a really cool thing, and you can't underestimate the value of beating a team that has your number, as you said repeatedly. Losing 2 games in a row, Missouri. I think they even won the East the first 2 years they joined the SEC.
Yeah,
which baffles the mind. But here you are, and Florida can't even take those wins for granted, which they're not doing. So
yep.
But
all in all, I'm happy with the win, and I'll take it.
Yep, they exact their revenge, 23-6. Any final thoughts on the Gator victory?
No, just it was good just to see everyone enjoying the victory afterwards, hanging with the boys, and getting ready for the next game.
Yep. So the Gators are 9-2. They finished their SEC schedule, and pretty good season so far. Florida State hosts Alabama State. As I mentioned previously, I'm not going to spend too much time on this game. Game went almost exactly as we expected. A couple highlights here. We do decide to sit Cam Akers, so he doesn't play. Not a shocker. He's been kind of hurt since Syracuse-ish game. Didn't get a lot of playing time against Miami. Probably one of the reasons why we didn't perform well, among others. And did get some touches against Boston College, but I guess the coaching staff decided, let's just rest him up, take another week off, and then we get ready for the Gators, which they said he will play for.
Okay. And I think that's a good call by them.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot earlier in the season, his workload. So I think it was real smart. You look at the calendar and see you have a bye week, you have a rival, and then you have Alabama State.
Right.
Might as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could have argued against it was it's the last game. He's probably going to play at Doak, and he doesn't suit up, but it didn't really matter. Give the other guys a chance. It was senior day anyway. So other news, Marvin Wilson had to have hand surgery, so he's out the rest of the year. I'll talk about that plenty when we have the Florida preview. And a lot of guys didn't start. Trey McKitty didn't play this game. Some other second, third tier guys just didn't even dress out. It did get interesting, and by interesting, I mean as interesting as a game like this can be. Alabama State does start off the game with a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
They return the kickoff to about midfield, then they got a 15-yard roughing the passer in their favor, and then completed like a 20-yard pass. It was first and goal within the first 3 minutes. You're like, whoa, okay. Not that mattered or lasted long, because on Florida State's first play, they threw a 75-yard pass to Tamari Terry. So
that helps.
Yep. The first drive of the third quarter, Blackman throws an interception. Alabama State scores and makes it 21-12. They never did score again, but to be within 9 of a team like that is a little bit, you'd like to see a little bit better performance. But the final score, 49-12, was right almost exactly what we predicted. So I said 50. You said, I think, 45.
I said 48.
Holy cow.
48-17 is what I said.
Wow, within 5. Good for you, man.
Well, I try.
Well done.
I'm not going to hesitate to pat my own back, I'll tell you.
Yep. So, pretty good attendance for the game. I think it was like 52,000. Cold game. Tallahassee was like 51 degrees.
Yeah.
And Odell gets his 4th win, so now it's Bowl-dell Haggins.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see what they come up with next.
Ride that train as long as you can.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
You do see a little bit of Jordan Travis in this one. Good atmosphere with the band. Alabama State's team did bring their band, which is really cool. So that was a pretty neat experience. If you can't tell, I was actually able to go to this game. So it was definitely great fun to be there. And because I was able to go to this game, Chris, in my lifetime, I have been to a game for every single Florida State head coach.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I don't know if I could say that for. No, I can't say that. So.
Yep. So check that one off the list.
Okay.
So yeah, Florida State does what they're supposed to do. They get a lot of guys involved. You send some people off with a good victory. Was a little talking back and forth with Tamari and Terry and the D-backs. He said they were trash talking him. I'm not so sure if that's the case or he was just kind of being Terry. But this is likely going to be his last game too, because he's been in college 3 years. So you definitely kind of get the performance you want here. I mean, small things to clean up, like Dent, or one of our corners. He's one of those guys. I forget the Gator player you said that just he has so many almost interceptions this year. It's crazy. It drives you nuts almost. But then you're like, I can't complain because he did break up the pass.
Right.
But overall, a pretty good win for the Noles, and not a lot to improve upon.
Yeah. A couple of things that stuck out. I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but at the beginning of the third, where Alabama State scores that touchdown, you're thinking, oh no. All right, you got to be thinking, if you're a Florida State fan, especially if you saw the first half of the season, oh no. But something different that they're doing now is they're finishing games. They are finishing games, something that definitely bugged them first half. I mean, you look back to last week's game at BC, finishing strong, and now they're finishing games here in a big way. And something that I've noticed, just an outside looking in, maybe you can speak to this more. It seems like Florida State is finally, the receivers specifically, are finally getting more yards after catch. I don't know. Something that I'm seeing in the games here. They have a little bit more, I don't know, spark to them. Outside of Terry, Terry's always been that big, deep threat for y'all. But now you're getting other guys. Matthews last week was it?
BC catch.
The guy Harrison this week. Also Terry as well. And you're seeing guys being able to move in open space and make plays and kind of just have a little bit more, I don't know what it is about them, but just better playmaking abilities and wanting to get into the end zone more. Is that something is that true? That's always been there. I'm not seeing it.
It's actually a good observation, Chris. Yeah, the yak has definitely improved. It's Helton was probably one of the best with it, and he got injured and is out for the rest of the year. So you just don't maybe see it as much. And then Terry was kind of the focus of that, and it really depends on the quarterback throwing it to them. Because Hornibrook, he won't throw any interceptions, but he'll take 20 sacks in 2 weeks. And then Blackman he'll probably lead you pretty well, but then he'll throw interceptions.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on the placement too, and what kind of cushion are you getting. There's been a couple, not a whole lot that concerns me, but a couple of fumbles by our receivers. Terry's had maybe 3 this year.
Yeah.
Maybe only 1 or 2 that he's lost. But yeah, you're right. That's something that the players have gotten better at this season, and it's getting off blocks. Maybe it's getting better start off of the D-backs, off of the push within the first 5 yards. I think you nailed on the head there.
Yeah, I think that it's reminding me of the Winston era receivers. Just I'm going to let them make some plays, and I think they're kind of finding their footing, if you will. And what about Nashville Dean, man? What a game!
How could I forget that? He's
what a game!
Hamza Nazrul, he leads our team in tackles. It's not even close. He has almost 100, but he has that long pick six that was just amazing. And we've only got, I think, 7 interceptions on the entire year, so not even 1 in game. Those don't come very often. So good for him. Yeah, great season.
I think he got, it was ACC Defensive Back of the Week, or like 3 of the last 4 weeks or something like that.
That's my guy.
That's impressive. 11 tackles and a pick 6. 1 tackle for loss. So, good for him.
Yep.
Good for him. Coming on strong.
He definitely stepped up when we had some injuries. And Lars Woodby's out for the rest of the year. And we just had some guys at the linebacker position that weren't performing well. So we're definitely going to need him against the Gators and in our bowl game, because we're going to have to probably use him for some inside pressure that we may not be used to getting on the D-line anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good win for the Noles.
Indeed, 6-6. So now it's a guarantee we are bowl eligible.
Yes.
And we'll save predictions for a future episode, but it's going to be interesting to see where Florida State goes. We're kind of in the doldrums of bowl games where we're going to be playing in the middle of December, probably on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. But it's a bowl nonetheless, and it brings money into the school, and you get your players back into that atmosphere, and playing in December is still a big accomplishment. And
Mullen stresses this a lot. It's an extra, 15 practices that you're allowed to get, or something like that. It's an extra amount of practices that you get for going for next year's
team. Never thought about that.
And that's why he's been stressing. He stressed this last week was the importance of that extra bowl practice or practices that you get for next year.
Because you only get 20 hours a week, I think, to practice with your guys now.
Yeah.
So that extra time means a lot. Very good point.
So if you don't have go to a bowl, you don't have that time together. So.
Which is what we missed last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Good point there, Chris.
I stole it from Mullen.
Well, that's okay. Good way to relay it.
I try. I try.
All right. Any final thoughts? That's all I had for the Noles.
No, that's it for me.
Awesome. Okay. So the only other game we had was South Florida versus Cincinnati. And the Bulls had this game won. I cannot believe it. For the first time this year, they looked great on offense.
Yeah.
Nearly 500 yards. All of your guys are getting touches. You're spreading the ball around. Your 2 top receivers almost exactly had 75 yards each. And the only thing that cost you was your kicker went 1 for 5. And you'd think after the second miss, Charlie Strong thinks he'd go for this kind of stuff, but he was stubborn and ruled it out, and it cost him the game. But, man, they had a chance. They had a shot at beating a ranked team, and it would have been probably the best win of Charlie Strong's career. Mm-hmm. And they blew it.
Yeah. They gave up 200 yards rushing in the second half to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And they were up Was it 10-0 at half?
And then 17-7 in the third.
Yeah.
Reclaiming the lead. And then to their credit on defense, they stopped the pass attack. I think Cincinnati, their pass attack was just very bad. But man, yeah, they just let it. They let them hang around. They didn't put away the lead. They couldn't get it going, and they didn't finish it off.
Yeah, they didn't kick the go-ahead field goal, and they let Cincinnati kick theirs at the end there. Man, this is tough. I mean, do you think if they had won this game, it saves Charlie Strong, or do you think this is a nail in the coffin?
If he's saved this year, Chris, I think it's because of that stretch where they went 3-1 and they beat BYU in there.
Right.
But it's tough. It's tough to see where they're going to win another game.
Yeah.
So that means then they're probably 4-8.
Yeah. Do you think the fact that it was a close one to a ranked team got them close, saved them?
Oh man.
I don't know.
I don't know that's enough. And here's why. We can speculate about South Florida because there are 2 Florida State coaches or former coaches that could take that job tomorrow. If they fire Charlie Strong, I think Willie Taggart's the first guy I call. Okay. He was already there. He's already got ties to the state. He's got some time off. He wants to coach. He wants to prove he can still do it. You're in the American. I don't know if you saw this announcement today. The next 2 seasons, there will be no divisions in the American.
Really?
Correct.
See that.
They will be playing 8 conference games a year, 4 home, 4 away, and they're going to decide later on how they rotate in the other 2, but you will play every 10 teams within a 4-year span.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be interesting because they're only going to have 11 teams starting next season. UConn goes independent in football.
Okay.
So now you're looking at, okay, South Florida's going to play UCF, and you got a better conference there. You got coaches that are leaving left and right, or rumored to leave every year. Mm-hmm. That's the first guy I hired. The other guy I think would be, you would consider Jim Leavitt. He is currently a defensive coach, coordinator, analyst, something at Florida State. They haven't really defined what he is. And, he was the coach there for a while. He did leave under some controversy. He's got, he runs hot. And he hasn't been a head coach, since he left South Florida probably 10 years ago. He's been a coordinator ever since then. But those are 2 guys that you pay a beggar's ransom for. You get a little bit of decent exposure. You have a name that you can recruit with. Because of those reasons, I just don't know if it's enough for Charlie.
Yeah, I don't even know if a win saves them. I mean, we'll see what happens in the next 2 games. But, yeah, I mean, they're most likely going to lose the next 2 games. But, yeah, as far as who comes in, I have no clue. But I just don't see this is his last chance. Although, I mean, say he was at Memphis and UCF. If he beats UCF, although slim, but I just don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Right.
And if it happens, I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be riding high in emotion if you beat Memphis, who is possibly a New Year's Six contender, maybe.
Yeah.
But you're still not going to a bowl, and
right.
that brings in a lot of money to the school. So,
yeah.
I thought maybe there for a couple of weeks it was touch and go. I was like, maybe Charlie would stay, but I think I'm back in this might be it.
Yeah, he gone. You're in the he gone camp.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, the Bulls fall at home. It's a crushing 20-17 loss, and Cincinnati has all but clinched their division.
Yeah.
I think technically someone did tell me UCF is not mathematically dead.
Oh, okay.
They would need Cincinnati to lose both of their games. They would need UCF to jump in the rankings and finish higher in the polls. There would also have to be a 3-way tie. So it's essentially done.
A lot of ifs.
We can just go ahead and assume Cincinnati's won that division.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. I didn't realize that. I thought they were done, but still, I mean, well, it's kind of like Florida. They had to beat Missouri. Georgia had to lose to Auburn and lose to A&M. And you're like, it's possible, but really,
not likely.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, there we go. The Bulls fall to 4-6, and they have to sweep to make a bowl game. I think you and I both agree that will not happen.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Man, that's it. Believe it or not, we have wrapped up week 12.
A short week.
Indeed. So let's go ahead and look forward to week 13.
Yes.
Again, shorter week here. Both Florida State and Florida on a bye week.
They are getting ready.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to UCF, if that's cool.
Yeah.
So we already talked about how UCF has struggled on the road this year. They've lost 3 of their 4 road games. They lost Friday nights to Tulsa and to Cincinnati. Well, now you mix another American road game. Again, this time they're going to the Big Easy. Heading down to face Tulane.
Nala.
Yes. And this game is going to be high scoring. Both teams are getting over 400 yards a game pretty easily. Tulane mostly doing it on the ground. UCF mostly doing it through the air. So I would expect this game to go into the 30s. I think the line of UCF by 6 is pretty fair. If they hadn't just come off of a loss to Tulsa and shown that they underperformed on the road, that probably should be around 10 or 12. But I think Vegas is catching on that when UCF's not in Orlando, they play very differently.
Gotcha.
So I think this is, I would even say maybe high 30s because UCF continues to score 31 a game. But what the Knights need to do is prove themselves that they can hold on. Prove that they can score when it matters. Prove they can eliminate mistakes. Funnily enough, last year when UCF was on their win streak, they were like 110th in the nation in penalties. They were terrible. And they're about there still. But now that you're losing, it makes a big difference, right?
Yep. Yeah. Sticks out a little bit more.
Yeah. And, some of the best teams in the nation are the most penalized. I don't have a problem with that. It's just when it makes the difference between a drive here or a field goal here or a touchdown there.
Yeah.
And you've slipped down a notch, then it's glaringly big. But I still am going to take the Knights to win this game. It's going to be high scoring. I think the defenses will both struggle quite a bit, which means that it may be in the high 30s, so like 38, 35, somewhere around there, I'm going to guess. So whatever it is, I'd probably take the over.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Statistically speaking, they match up. A lot of similarities. UCF just scores more, has more yards, but defenses are allowing about the same. They allow about the same on defense. So I was shocked to see that it was only, 6.5. But looking overall and just kind of seeing the points you make, UCF on the road could make it a little bit tougher. And a noon game. Yeah, I think it's high scoring. It's going to be a close one, but I still lean UCF because they still have some stuff. Although it's minute and tough, but they still have a chance to win their division. So, yeah, UCF maybe 10-ish around there. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure who you'd go with. I figured you'd probably go UCF, but
yeah, I was tempted. Like at first, I was like, of course UCF, but then I started looking at it. I was like, well, maybe Tulane, maybe, but I'll lean UCF.
Yeah, Tulane started off the season really well. They won against Houston. They showed that they have a lot of charisma. So if this game was in September, there's a better chance of an upset. I think.
Yeah.
Especially UCF coming off a bye. I really don't see them losing another game this year.
Yeah, Tulane's lost 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah,
and
a little bit. Of
I just don't see UCF losing back to back like that. So.
Good point. Of course, we didn't see them losing to Tulsa either, but Tulsa was close in a lot of games this year, and that can make some sense. And after the criticism and some blowback that Heupel's getting off the last 2 weeks, I can't imagine they don't come out and respond.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go to South Florida and 2 teams that reside in South Florida. Miami going to FIU. 2 teams that are going different directions. And one's going this way, one's going this way. And you probably can't see. I forgot that no one's watching me. One hand's going up and one hand's going down.
Gotcha.
We're not on TV. For those that are listening, which is everybody, Miami's going up, and FIU is going down. You got to go Miami on this. You got to go Miami, maybe even big on this. Now that they're finally hitting their stride, and Williams is hitting his stride on offense. DJ Dallas, obviously, doing his thing, and that defense is finally clicking. Yeah, I would say Miami and Miami big.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way that FIU stands a chance in this one. When you get an upper echelon program like Miami, in your head, the players are saying, I have a need. The need for speed.
There we go.
And they're just going to outrun FIU. So, by the way, that's number 4.
Yeah, well, actually, I threw in another one in there earlier that we didn't pick up on.
But, 5. Okay.
Yeah. For those listening, try to let me know if you figure out what it is.
Even I missed it. So
I was very subtle about it.
Nice. And yeah, that's the thing you see. The only thing you're worried about here is you have guys that have played together, that know each other, maybe played in high schools. It can get a little chippy. We know the history of this game and what it's done, but last year when they played, didn't seem to be a problem. So I'm not too worried about it. And yeah, I think Miami gets a pretty comfortable win here. FIU has definitely underperformed. You and I both have them at 9+ wins this season. And at this point, they've already been eliminated for contention to win a division. So certainly underperformed, and Butch Davis didn't get it done this year, which is unfortunate. They started off on a really sour note, and they never quite recovered. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Miami big.
Yeah. I just don't see how FIU could hang with them. I really just don't.
Yeah.
I always go back to Georgia Tech. That always pops in my brain. But right now, at this point in the season, FIU is just not a match for Miami.
Yep. So I will say one just overall season note for the Canes. I had them finishing second in the Coastal this year behind Virginia. They have actually been eliminated from contention. They can no longer win the Coastal.
Okay.
Do you want to guess how many times the Miami Hurricanes have won the ACC since they joined in 2004?
Is it 0 times?
It's 0.
Yeah.
They've only won their division once.
Yeah.
That was the year Mark Richt had them started 11-0, I believe. That was just only 3 years ago. And they went to the Orange Bowl. They ended up losing their last 3. Lost to Pitt. They lost to Clemson. They lost to Wisconsin.
Yeah. The wheels just fell off, man.
Yep. And then they struggled to a bowl, and then Mark Richt retired. So there he is. It's been crazy. So that is baffling to me.
Yeah, I remember when they were joining, the big thing was it's going to be Miami, Florida State. It just didn't happen. Never happened. But one day, right?
Yeah, well, even 2 weeks ago, I was like, they make a nice little run here. The ACC is pretty bad this year. They could actually sneak out an Orange Bowl bid. Yeah,
that's what I saw. Yeah, I saw that they were projected, and one of the things said it was highly unlikely, but it's possible. I was like, what?
Yeah.
How is this even a thing?
Not anymore. And there's a good chance, Chris, that the Orange Bowl representative from the ACC is 8-4 this season.
Man,
what a terrible year.
Took my breath away.
It's awful. And I'm like, well, we don't even deserve it. You should just give it to somebody else at Notre Dame, honestly. I don't even like Notre Dame, and you should just give it to a better team. Because they're going to play like the loser of the SEC title game. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, Wake Forest. You get to go play Georgia. That's going to be good for everybody involved. Anyway.
Good luck selling the tickets to that one.
Exactly. Anyway, I digress. Anything else about the case?
No, we've been through the fire.
Okay.
Let's just move on.
All right, cool. Florida Atlantic, the Lane Train.
Yeah,
they're back in town.
UTSA.
Yeah. Stands
for UTSA stands for
University of Texas San Antonio.
Nice. Good job. A 4-6 team that FAU is another team that's going in the right direction, and they should be fine. With the spread here is 20. I don't know if they're cover or not, but they're definitely going to win the game. and 7-3 on the season for them.
Yeah. They have won 7 of their last 8 games. It is amazing. And I'm honestly surprised UTSA has that many wins. I really thought they were worse than 4 wins.
Yeah.
So good for them. One of the wins is against UTEP, and another one's against Rice. So you're talking about some of the worst teams in D1. So yes, I think FAU wins and they cover the spread of 20. I don't think this is going to be a game at all.
Yeah. Things are clicking for them right now. I mean, earlier in the season, like, we didn't know where they're going. There's destination unknown for them, but now they figured it out. Ooh. And I don't know if they cover the spread or not, but I don't think it's going to be an issue for them.
Okay.
All right, and then is it aforementioned or aforementioned bowls?
Ooh, aforementioned, I think.
Aforementioned. Okay.
Yes. So they are going to be hosting the Memphis Tigers, as we alluded to. Memphis, probably one of the best seasons in school history. They already have a win. They knocked off the undefeated SMU Mustangs. Only a loss this year was 2 points to Temple on the road. They are looking pretty formidable. Memphis is going to win this one pretty easily. What Memphis has to watch out for is some kind of upset because they're working on a high level, but we saw what Cincinnati did.
Yeah.
You want to go to Tampa, you want to play your best game. You want to make sure that you don't get lax, you don't get comfortable. Yeah. I don't see any reason to believe that. I mean, they are scoring a lot of points per game. I think they only scored 28 when they lost to Temple. Every other game, they're pretty much 40+.
Yeah.
And they run the ball like crazy, which means they control the clock, and as long as they don't turn it over, I see no reason why they shouldn't struggle.
Yeah, I mean, if South Florida didn't almost pull the upset on Cincy, I mean, you could maybe say that they could sneak up and get their goose, but Memphis is not going to let them do that this time. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. They know that, we have to take South Florida serious. So I think Memphis rolls.
Okay.
But again, like, just when we think we know a team, we don't know a team. Just when we think we know a Charlie Strong football team, we don't know them. So
right.
Who knows? But you got to go with Memphis, though.
Yep, definitely Memphis here.
Yeah. So that's it. Oh yeah, because FAU and Miami play each other.
Yeah.
Always throws me off, man.
It's all good. If you don't mind, Chris, can I take a couple minutes to talk about the FSU Coaching Search?
Yes.
So it's definitely been a roller coaster of reports and rumors. So I'm not going to pat ourselves on the back too much, but we didn't rush to any conclusions or any reports or any other signed deals that people were saying was official. So just to recap what the last couple weeks have looked like since Willie Tiger was let go. Hard to believe that was actually like 15 days ago. So November 4th. The biggest candidate and the coach that Florida State wanted apparently was Bob Stoops.
It's a big name.
Huge name. And that would not have been a home run hire, Chris. That would have been a grand slam to win the World Series hire. But you probably have a lot you had to contend with. No one really knows what was being discussed or what was happening. There were a lot of rumors, which I won't entertain. My best guess on what happened was Florida State talked to him. He probably showed some interest. He probably said, well, this is kind of what I want, and I am going to coach in the XFL next year, but if you can start to put together a list of things, A, B, C, D, E, we can talk further. My guess is they were going back and forth on this. Probably for over a week, Florida State was said, we can do this, but we can't do 1, 2, 3. And most likely that was probably what made the deal not happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is all conjecture. At one point, there were people saying it was official. He was coming. He was in Tallahassee. I don't know if any of that's true. I just know that would have been a great hire, but a lot would have had to gone into it, and for whatever reason, didn't happen. A lot of ties to Florida. He was a Gator defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Most known as the OU head coach for, I think, 17 seasons, won a national championship, 12 Big 12 titles in that time span. He even had a Heisman Trophy winner, 3 national title appearances. Can't argue with that. So that would have been great. And he's only 59. But just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, I think that would have been a great hire for the namesake and the program's morale. I don't know how. I mean, 60, it's up there, but not really up there. I don't know if it would have been like a Mark Rick situation where you start off great, and then how long can you go with the success? I mean, he won a national championship. I don't know if it would have been as a huge of a home run, but definitely would have got the program back to relevance for sure.
Yeah, and those are all valid concerns. Like, you won a national championship, but it was 19 years ago.
Yeah.
And you still have probably what it takes to coach, especially in the ACC, which has weak teams besides Clemson, of course. And, you know, you're a Big 12 guy. Can you move that talent to the Southeast and make it happen against SEC schools? You know, that's a challenge too.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't meant to be. Some other names that are being tossed around will be what we call the usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Campbell at Iowa State would be one. Mike Norvell of Memphis would be another. You would probably want to entertain like a PJ Fleck. I'm kind of annoyed with the row the boat, whatever.
Didn't he just like sign an extension though?
He did, and the buyout went up, which is another reason why it probably won't happen. But
yeah,
they can keep him. I'm not interested. You know, we talked about the 4 different ways they can go, you know, hire internally, which I'll talk about Odell in a second. You could hire a coordinator. I think if you're going to go that route, you would look at a Grange at Oklahoma, or you look at Venables at Clemson, if they want to be a head coach. Don't know. There's also a guy at LSU, I think, that you may want to look at.
Maybe.
You could go with like a Power 5, so that would be the Mike Norvell people of the world. Or you go for swing for the fences, which is kind of what they sound like they did with Stoops,
right?
Supposedly. I don't know if there's any other home run coaches out there. Like maybe you talk to a Richt. You could talk to the other Stoops, Mark. He's up in Kentucky.
That's the one that I would find. I think it'd be good for them. It's a guy that's familiar with the program. I don't know, maybe they want offense. I don't know. He's a defensive guy. Depends on what they want with the. I don't know. You could speak to it as well, being a fan, what you'd rather have. But I think it's a guy that he has had some success in the SEC. Right. Now this year's not the way it went, but a lot of it's because of the injury to the quarterback. But I think that's the one that you should really be realistic about and go. I mean, I could see the guy at Norvell would be a good one. Campbell would be a real good one. I think he made the short list for Florida. Those would be good too, but I think Stoops at Kentucky would be a solid one for Florida State.
I think the biggest thing there is a buyout. It's kind of a high one, and so that's concerning. Kentucky, I was like for a second wasn't sure they're going to make a bowl, and I was like, well, that would be sort of convenient if we were to hire him, because then we get him a little sooner. But they're 5-5 now, and they're at UT Martin, so they're going to win that, I think. So they're bowl-bound. The money there is a little bit concerning.
Mm.
I after the Boston College win, I'll admit I was very emotional, and in that moment, I really told myself, keeping Odell Haggins seemed to be the smartest move. He is not a long-term solution by any means. He's never head coached except of the interim for Florida State. He has been a defensive line coach for 26 years. So, you know, how much does that really prepare you for head coaching? Not much.
Mm-hmm.
Prepares you for recruiting? Definitely. Program loves you. Boosters love you. Players love you. Now we're seeing the fans love you. So don't think you can go wrong if you keep him. He's not a long-term guy, though. I think you do a 1 or 2 year deal. You keep your recruiting class intact. You let Bryles stay. You let Levitt stay. We've already let one guy go, David Kelly, recruiting coordinator. He's gone. So you're going to start to see a lot more of this. Mm-hmm. So best of luck to him. And for continuity's sake, you kind of like keep the throne warm while you look for your other guy and just see what other positions open. in the next couple of years. It's looking like the smartest decision. Now, if you can get another guy like a Stoops, I say you probably have to take that and go forward with it. But what are your thoughts?
Do you think the fan base can be patient? Because what's the ceiling for Odell? What, 7 wins, 8 wins? Maybe more. Maybe it's possible. But trying to be realistic. Do you think that can they? I think he's with the program the way it is, and I mean, there's a reason why he was 26 years as a D-line coach and not a head coach or coordinator. Nothing against him. Seems like a real nice guy, and it's a great story. But I mean, there's a reason for it.
Sure.
And so realistically, with Clemson, seeing them every year, and Florida every year, and Miami every year, like, what's the ceiling? Say 7 wins. Can Florida State, can the fans go next 2 years 7 wins?
That's a great question. You're asking the right question there, Chris. And I don't know that they would be okay with that. You know, you already saw a guy who thought was, okay, Florida State fan for life. He comes from a Power 5 program. He's won in the past, and he didn't even last 2 years. So, you know, what exactly happens when you lose by multiple scores to Clemson at home?
Yeah.
What happens when you lose yet another game to the Gators, or you slip up against like an NC State or Louisville, someone at the bottom rung of the ACC? Those are great questions, and I don't know. I don't think they. I think we're starting to realize, hey, we have to be patient with this kind of stuff, but they don't want to admit it out loud yet.
Right.
I have a weird reference for you. Ready?
Okay.
It's not Top Gun.
Oh man.
I know.
All
sorry,
right.
but you ever heard of a phenomenon called sundogs?
No.
Okay, so it's really kind of cool if you ever get to see it. I haven't, but if the sun hits the Earth at just the right way, at the right angle, it'll look like there are 3 suns. They're all like half moon crescent or whatever. I encourage you to look it up. You just Google it, sundogs.
So it's like Tatooine.
There you go. I was actually thinking of the Star Wars reference too, but I didn't want to get too nerdy, but you did it for me, so thanks.
Okay, I'll go there.
So it's a weird phenomenon, but we have one sun, obviously, on Earth.
Are you sure?
If you look at it the right way during this one phenomenon, you see 3 suns.
Okay.
I don't want Florida State fans to get hung up on this sundogs phenomenon. You're looking at Odell. He's 4-0. Oh, he's going to go 8-0 next year when you hire him to start off with. Let's temper that back. This is a phenomenon. This is a very much small sample size, okay? You're 4-0, but your wins are Boston College, which is a good one. The rest are Alabama State, Louisiana Monroe, Southern Miss. So Odell's phrase this week was all gas, no brakes.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage the fans, tap the brakes.
Yeah.
Tap the brakes a little bit. Because I completely agree it would be a great hire to keep stability. But you're right, it's not a very high ceiling. So those are my quick thoughts on the coaching.
I mean, a lot of people can point to, well, LSU, it worked out. And true. Okay, name another one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot.
I mean, I get the and I was kind of like thinking that way too, but if you pull back from it and you have to take your garnet and gold glasses off, can you? If you can, if as a fan base can say, I can wait 2 years till the next guy comes in, and if Odell signs up for that too, then yeah, I think it's a good plan. But I don't see it. I mean, they were quick to fire Taggart. They didn't let him go.
Yep.
I don't know. I just don't see it being a thing that's going to work out. But I like him. He seems like a real nice guy, and what a great story. And good for him to finally get some, his hard work paying off.
Sure.
And I just don't know if that's the right reason, or the right way to go. And if fans will allow that to happen. But I mean, it's possible. I just don't see it happening where he comes in and they win 9 games. I just don't.
Yeah, and it was announced, I think, Sunday that Odo Hagen's interviewed for the job, and you know what I imagine that interview went like, Chris?
What?
They said, "Are you a good coach?" He says, "I can hold my own." I say, "Great, then you don't have to worry about making your living as a singer." Number 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Obviously, that was my way to segue out of the conversation.
Oh, by the way, I've been dropping several more in there.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Several. Very, very, I don't want to say obscure, but deep cuts, let's just say.
Dude, I like it.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, we had a lot to cover from Week 12 going into Week 13. Why don't you tell the fans, Chris, how they can reach out to us about their thoughts on this week, and they can actually count the full number of Top Gun references.
Okay, yeah, I will stop being a jester, and we'll have the sun go down on this episode. I know it was a good episode. We were real chipper in this episode.
Yeah.
But all right. Yes, go to FloridaFocusPodcast.com. Hit us up. That's where you can listen to the episodes, where you can tell us if you found all the Top Gun references. We're trying to be a slider and slide them right in there, see if you found them. But hit us up, FloridaFocusPodcast.com, for all your podcast needs.
Indeed. And feedback would always be appreciated in the form of a review as well. You can hit the 3, 4, or 5-star, that's fine, but the written feedback is what would help us even more. So that'd be greatly appreciated. Well, man, that was one of the more fun episodes, in my opinion.
Yes,
so, anything else to add before we sign off for the night?
No, Maverick, we are good to go.
Okay.
We got the all clear.
We
We got the flyby. I'm trying to squeeze them all in the last minute. As you can tell.
That was decent. All right. Well, this is Brandon saying, go Noles.
Go Gators.